Good morning, this is Iowa Prairie Girl. It is June 5th, 2021, a beautiful June morning. It's going to be a hot day. Wanted to get out here before it got too hot. You can see that it's going to be a windy day. And there's another reason I need to get out here. I want to do a video today on Salsify. Salsify is not a native wildflower to the United States. It is actually considered a weed, but it's my favorite weed. And another reason I need to get out here before early part of the day is because Salsify has many names, and one of them is called noon flower, and another one is Jack go to bed by noon. And this flower closes up right at noon. Last weekend I tried to do a video and I waited too long in the morning, and I came out and they were all closed up by high noon. So Salsify, it is, as I mentioned, a non-native plant. It came over in the 1900s with immigrants. It came over because either they brought it over as a flower that they wanted to put in their flower gardens, or brought it over as a vegetable. It is very edible, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So why is it my favorite weed? We'll put it that way. One of my favorite weeds. When you look up why someone is inclined to like something or why they call it their favorite, it's just something that catches your attention. You know, why is it your favorite color? Yellow is actually one of my favorite colors. It's just something that either reminds you of something, or something that just brings you pleasure, I guess, is why we call it a favorite. So let's take a look at the plant. So Salsify, as you can see, this clump here, it does look like a weed. Each flower has its own single branch, but as you can see, each plant can have multiple flowers on it. The flower is yellow with a lemon-colored ray petals, and then it has stamens that are black. And so that might be one reason it catches my attention. It's not too often that you have a lot of a black and a yellow together. And of course that is, we're here in Iowa, so that is our Iowa Hawkeye colors. The other thing that I really like about the Salsify flower itself is that their sepals are longer than the petals. And as you look at it, you can really see them sticking out. And there's 13 of them, 13 sepals that stick out past the ray petals. And you can see the flower is closed up. Those are the sepals that close up. So they close up at noon. I believe they close up because the plant is just trying to protect itself from the heat of the summer. But they can close up, and they close up into a pod here. So if you see a noon flower or an Salsify, this is a western yellow Salsify. There are purple ones, but the ones here we have in Iowa that are weeds along the roadside here are the yellow western Salsify. So you can see that they close up. They close up and they stay closed until the next morning. And I've been paying attention. They open up around 7:30 here in North Iowa in the morning. So one reason why it's called the noon flower is back before everyone had cell phones, and maybe before every farmer had a watch, the farmers would actually know that it was time to go in for their noon meal by watching the Salsify. And when it was closed up, they knew it was high noon and it was time to go in to have lunch. So that's the noon flower, or Jack go to bed by noon. Another name for it is goat's beard, and I believe that has to do with the big puffball that it forms. They form puffballs just like a dandelion, but much larger. And I have a picture from a couple summers ago of a big puffball that I'll show at the end of my video when I show the pictures. The other thing that I like about Salsify is that it has a clasping leaf, and that is my, I know I've said that in the past. I'm going to pull this. This is a weed and on the ditch side, so I'm going to just pull this here. It has the clasping leaf here, and that's one of my favorite leaf in wildflowers. It catches my attention. I love how it clasps to the stem there. The stem is a pale green, and it can, in parts, it kind of turns a brownish purple color as well. And then the leaves can get quite long. They're skinny, and they can get up to about 12 inches long. And in some places, they start to curl, and that's really attractive too, how they kind of make a real curly decorative design on the leaves. Another name for this plant is oyster plant. It is in the, it does have a root, not like other wildflowers that have a really long taproot, but it does have a root that is in the parsnip or carrot-like department, and that is very edible. You eat it just like you would eat a potato. You can cook it, you can mash it, you can fry it. Now again, this video is not on how to identify to eat Salsify. There are lots of YouTube videos out there on how to cook and make sure that you're eating the right plant. So please don't use my video as a foraging video on how to find a plant to eat. But I will mention that everything is edible. The whole plant is edible, from the flower to the leaf to the stem to the root. The leaves and when it first comes up in the spring, you would eat the stems like you would eat asparagus. The leaves are edible. I did try one earlier last week. It was palatable. I'm not quite sure how you'd want to eat the flower, but the whole plant is edible. And it is full of vitamins. It is actually called a superfood. The whole Salsify plant is considered a superfood. The starchy root vegetable has iron, vitamin C, thiamine, calcium, phosphorus, potassium. It has as much potassium in it as a banana. So it is called a super food. Another name for this plant is viper grass. In the past it has been used to treat snake bites. I'm not quite sure which part of the plant they used, but that is another name for it. So we've got oyster plant because the root tastes similar to an oyster. We've got Jack Go to Bed by Noon, Noon Flower, Goat's Beard, and Viper grass are some of the other names for this plant, which is in the aster family. It does bloom here in North Iowa. It starts to bloom in June. In Iowa, it can bloom anytime from May to September, and when it is blooming, it blooms for about a month and a half. So as you can tell, I think you can tell, I broke that one. I am sitting on the edge of a gravel road here in Iowa. Salsify likes habitat that has been disturbed. Along my gravel road here, I can find it about every 20 feet or so. There's quite a bit of Salsify. It is, like I said, a non-native, but it does spread very easily, but it is not considered invasive, so it doesn't seem to bother anyone. It is a biannual, meaning that the plant lasts for 2 years. The first year it's a smaller plant. The second year it is a bigger plant. Just like a dandelion, it spreads by seed, and so I'm going to guess that this one is done blooming. When this opens up, it'll be a big puff ball just like a dandelion, and the seeds blow in the wind, and that's how the Salsify gets spread. So it likes railroads, roadsides, vacant lots. You can find it in a meadow or pasture. You might find it in a very open woods, but it really likes dry, gravelly areas. It does also point towards the sun, so that is the east there, and you can see that this plant is pointing towards the east, and it will turn as the sun comes up. The flowers will turn as well wherever the sun is. Children a long time ago would break the stem, and I don't know if you can see that. I just broke this stem here, and it has a white milky sap, and if you dried that, kids would use that as chewing gum. Just like a dandelion. When you break a dandelion and make a dandelion bracelet, it has that same white sappy substance. So I know I mentioned the flower already. I did say that one thing wrong. They have black anthers. Anyway, so inside the plant it does have that black part, so you have a lot of yellow. This is ray petals. The outside ray petals are longer, and then they have the inside shorter ray petals. If you remember, a ray petal is a flower in and of itself. Now I mentioned the 13 brackets. I did look a lot. I did a lot of research trying to find, I was just certain that a yellow flower like this that grows in the ditch that has 13 brackets that look kind of like a star, that it's got to have some kind of significance in the I'm on a gravel road and people are like, what is that lady doing? I was sure that it had to have some kind of significance for some kind of superstition or folklore or witchcraft. I couldn't find any. I was just certain that a flower with 13 brackets has to have some kind of story with it, but couldn't find anything like that. Alright, well that's about what I know about Salsify. Like I said, it's out on the gravel roads, blooming right now in North Iowa. If you're out traveling or you're walking through a disturbed area or a meadow or a pasture where the seeds have spread, you might find some Salsify, and I hope that you enjoy being able to identify this plant, and maybe it'll be your favorite weed as well. Thank you for watching. This is Iowa Prairie Girl on a beautiful June morning. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and again I encourage you to get out and enjoy being outside, and I hope that you see something wonderful. Thanks for watching.